According to a 2024 survey by the Federal Reserve Bank, over 40% of households earning more than $100,000 a year consider themselves to be living paycheck to paycheck. The data gets even more alarming when you look higher up the income ladder. Nearly 1 in 3 households making over $250,000 report having less than $5,000 in liquid savings. They drive $80,000 cars. They live in homes assessed at over $1.2 million. They wear the right clothes and take the right vacations. On paper, they are wealthy. In reality, they are one missed bonus or one medical emergency away from financial collapse. They are trapped in a system of their own making, a system built on the illusion of wealth rather than the mathematical reality of it. We are conditioned to believe that a high salary is the absolute finish line. You study hard, you get the degree, you land the six-figure job, and you win the game. But what nobody in the financial media wants to admit is that a high income is not wealth. Income is just a tool. Wealth is the capital you actually keep after the lifestyle bills are paid. The problem today is that the American dream has been gamified by lenders, automakers, and social expectations. It is easier than ever to finance a lifestyle that perfectly matches your gross income while completely ignoring your net reality. You sign a 30-year mortgage based on your pre-tax salary. You lease a luxury SUV based on an acceptable monthly payment. You justify extremely expensive vacations because you work hard and deserve a break. This creates a dangerous phenomenon I call phantom wealth. Phantom wealth is the massive gap between what you look like you have and what you actually own free and clear. It is the equity trapped in a house you can never sell because you need a place to live. It is the depreciating status symbol in the driveway. Today, I'm going to walk you through the 9 specific traps that convert high income into zero wealth. By the end of this breakdown, you will understand exactly why making more money rarely solves the problem and how you can avoid the invisible forces designed to keep you working forever. Reason 1 is the trap of the primary residence illusion. Most Americans blindly believe their home is their biggest investment. For high earners, this belief becomes a convenient justification to overextend. They buy a $1.4 million house in a premium zip code. They put 20% down. They feel rich because their net worth tracks the local real estate market. But a primary residence is a consumption item, not a liquid asset. You cannot buy groceries with drywall. You cannot pay for college with roof shingles. The first cost is obvious, the mortgage payment. But there is a second cost most people ignore. A $1 million home comes with a hidden tax. Property taxes, homeowners insurance, routine maintenance, and HOA fees easily consume $20,000 to $30,000 a year in pure cash flow. That is cash going straight out the window, completely independent of building equity. It is a massive, permanent anchor on your liquidity. Number 2 is the normalization of the 4-figure auto loan. A decade ago, a $1,000 monthly car payment was strictly reserved for exotic sports cars. Today, according to recent Edmunds data, almost 20% of all new car loans exceed $1,000 a month. High earners routinely finance $85,000 luxury SUVs for 72 months. They tell themselves it is for safety or for maintaining client appearances. But let us do the compounding math on this trap. If you take a $900 monthly difference between a reliable, slightly used car and a brand new luxury lease, and you invest that $900 monthly at an 8% annual return over 25 years, it becomes approximately $850,000. That is the true hidden cost of the leather seats. You are trading nearly $1 million in future financial freedom for the temporary privilege of driving a rapidly depreciating piece of metal. Number 3 is the silent erosion of the convenience tax. High-income professionals work incredibly long hours. They are chronically exhausted. They convince themselves that their time is simply too valuable to do basic household tasks, so they outsource their entire lives. They pay for premium meal delivery services on Tuesday nights. They hire weekly housekeepers, pool maintenance companies, landscape crews, and dog walkers. Individually, each service feels like a small, highly justifiable luxury. Collectively, they form a massive leak in the financial ship. It is incredibly common for a dual-income household to spend $2,500 a month purely on convenience fees. That is $30,000 a year in after-tax income vanishing into thin air. You are essentially working the first 2 hours of every single day just to pay other people to manage the life you are too busy to actually live. Reason 4 is the private education premium. This is a trap built almost entirely on good intentions. Parents want the absolute best for their children. But dropping $35,000 a year per child on private grade school is mathematically devastating to generational wealth creation. The first cost is obvious, the tuition check itself. But there is a second cost most people ignore, the opportunity cost of capital. Remember, tuition is paid with after-tax dollars. To pay $35,000 in tuition, you need to earn roughly $55,000 in gross salary. Over 12 years of schooling, that is nearly $420,000 in cash out the door per child. If you instead moved to a district with strong public schools and invested just $2,000 a month of that intended tuition money into a standard S&P 500 index fund at 8% returns, your child would graduate high school with a portfolio worth over $470,000. Instead, the money is just gone. Number 5 is tax bracket blindness. Many professionals mistakenly construct their entire lifestyle around their gross salary. They get a raise to $300,000 and immediately upgrade their monthly obligations to match a $300,000 life. But the IRS takes a disproportionately massive share of those upper income dollars. Once you factor in federal taxes, state taxes, Medicare, and Social Security, the marginal tax rate on those extra dollars can easily exceed 40% in states like California, New York, or Illinois. The big promotion looks absolutely fantastic on paper. The actual take-home pay barely covers the new mortgage and the new country club dues. They feel squeezed because they spent gross money, but only received net money. The math does not care about your impressive job title. Reason 6 is the liquidity drought. This happens when individuals are asset-rich but cash-poor. They do all the textbook things the financial industry tells them to do. They max out their 401k. They diligently participate in the employee stock purchase plan. They build substantial equity in their primary home, but they hold almost zero cash in a basic high-yield savings account. When a true emergency strikes or a sudden investment opportunity appears, they have absolutely no dry powder. They are forced to put a $12,000 HVAC repair on a high-interest credit card. Or worse, they are forced to take a penalty-laden loan against their own retirement accounts. Wealth without liquidity is a prison. If you cannot write a check for $20,000 today without selling a stock or calling a bank, your wealth is a mirage. Number 7 is the social matching effect. Your peer group dictates your spending behavior far more than your household budget does. If your colleagues routinely fly first class to Aspen for winter break, you feel a quiet, persistent pressure to do the exact same thing. If the neighbors are putting in a $90,000 custom pool, your perfectly functional backyard suddenly feels inadequate. High earners often find themselves trapped in an invisible arms race of consumption. They are competing in a game where the only prize is less financial security. The cost of admission to these elite social circles is unbelievably steep. It requires a constant, unending outflow of cash to maintain appearances. It is the most expensive subscription you can possibly buy, and you cannot cancel it without moving to a new neighborhood. Reason 8 is the assumption of eternal high earnings. Professionals frequently build their fixed monthly overhead based on their absolute best earning year. They assume the annual bonuses will always be paid out in full. They assume the tech sector will always boom. They assume their law firm will never downsize. They confidently lock in $14,000 a month in fixed mandatory expenses. But high incomes are inherently fragile. Industries get disrupted. Severe health issues happen. Corporate restructurings eliminate middle management entirely. When your fixed lifestyle costs require a top-tier income just to break even every month, a 20% drop in pay is not just an inconvenience. It is a catastrophic event that triggers immediate liquidation of assets. Finally, reason 9 is ignoring the hidden layer of debt risk. True financial security is not about maximizing every single dollar for optimal market returns. It is about building an unbreakable shock absorber between you and the real world. High earners often carry way too much debt because they think they can easily out-earn the interest rate. They finance a $100,000 boat at 7% because they assume their stock portfolio will yield 10%. They play dangerous spreadsheet games with their cash flow. But debt introduces a hard fragility into your life. The market might drop 20% in a single year. The bank still expects the boat payment on the first of the month. Wealth is not just about asset accumulation. It is about risk elimination. Consider two contrasting couples to see exactly how this plays out in reality. Michael and Sarah live in a premium suburb of Chicago. Together, they earn $320,000 a year. They live in a $1.6 million home. They lease 2 luxury vehicles for a combined $2,400 a month. Their kids attend a prestigious private academy. They take one highly curated international trip every summer. To their friends and extended family, they have completely won the game, but their fixed monthly expenses exceed $18,000. After taxes and lifestyle costs, they save almost absolutely nothing. Their net worth is tied entirely to their home equity and heavily restricted 401k accounts. They are secretly terrified of losing their jobs because their entire world would financially collapse in less than 90 days. Now look at David and Christine. They live in Phoenix. They also earn exactly $320,000 a year, but their daily reality looks entirely different. They live in a $650,000 home with a rapidly shrinking mortgage. They drive 5-year-old vehicles they bought outright with cash. Their kids attend the local public schools. Because their fixed monthly costs are so aggressively low, they routinely invest $6,000 every single month into a standard brokerage account, over and above their workplace retirement accounts. At age 45, David and Christine have $1.4 million in completely liquid investments. They do not care if the economy dips. They do not stress over corporate restructuring. They go to work because they choose to, not because they have to. The difference between these two couples is not income. The difference is intention. Michael and Sarah bought a lifestyle. David and Christine bought freedom. We are constantly sold the idea that success looks exactly like a luxury car commercial. We are told that aggressively upgrading our lives is the natural, deserved reward for hard work. But every single time you upgrade your fixed costs, you are signing a binding contract to work harder, longer, and with vastly more stress. You are trading your future optionality for present-day validation. The math isn't complicated. The behavior is, you have to actively ask yourself what you actually want out of your money. Do you want to look rich to people you barely know at the country club? Or do you want the quiet, unshakable confidence of knowing you can walk away from any job at any time and be perfectly fine? True wealth is largely invisible. It is the new car you did not buy. It is the expensive watch you left sitting in the store window. It is the massive mortgage you never signed. Wealth is simply the gap between your ego and your income. The smaller your ego, the larger your freedom. Stop buying the illusion. Buy your time back instead.